Yo, what's up, Greenblood fans? This is Rafael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you another chapter review of chapter 25, Mother. So yeah, long chapter for this one. I think I was right about the last chapter 24 being the end of that previous arc. So this one seems like it's a new one, and wow, it really is a great chapter because it's basically been a year since Brad and Luke left the 5 points, and we see someone sitting in a bar, and this woman's being harassed by two men. They basically want to have sex with her, like for like a freaking short amount of money. She's basically like obviously telling them to pay off. Like, what if I don't agree? And then this guy throws a mug at them, and he's like, "Leave her alone. She doesn't want to go with you." And then who do we see it is? It's Luke, and the guy looks like a man now. He's flipping. I think he was 17 or 16. I can't remember, but he looks grown up. He even looks bigger as well, like he's been training with his brother or something. And he takes them out easily. It's like I think he grabs one of their wrists and slams the guy on the It's like he twists him, slams on the table, something like that. And then Brad comes along, and yeah, he doesn't really look any different. I think he looks slightly different, but you can't really tell. And he's 21 now, and he's pointing a gun at the guy, and he's basically saying, "Leave unless you want to die." And they crack themselves like they're ducking up. And then Luke approaches the girl, who becomes quite important later in the chapter, and he asks if she's alright. And she just slaps him across the face. I said, "I didn't need your help." And you said, who do you think you are, showing off like that? Don't show your face around me again." And it's like leaving Luke stunned, and I think Brad Clark called him an idiot. So yeah, later on they're looking for knocking at houses, and they knock at this farm because they want to find somewhere to live or sleep for the night, because Brad was basically complaining, "I ain't sleeping outside again." And Luke's like, "Well, if you didn't spend all the freaking money on alcohol, we could do." And yeah, so they check if the house is occupied or not, and someone answers the door, and straight away they point a gun at Luke and saying, "We don't have anything to sell, just leave." And it's the same girl from the bar that Luke said, and she's like, "Oh, you we were introduced by her name for the first time, and she's called Jenny Macy." And so yeah, later on they get let into the house. There's I think Jenny's mum, called Anne Macy. She's basically brought them in, fed them, and what do you call it, they're really grateful. And she's saying, "Oh, it seems like, she's just been a really kind person." At first I thought she had an ulterior motive, but I'm not so sure. Basically saying, "It looks like you haven't ate for a while, and it's good to have company of men in the house." And that's when I was a bit like, "Oh, okay, what's going on there?" But basically she says, "Oh, it's like having two sons or something." And Luke kind of feels a bit like emotional about this, because obviously I think he thought about his mum, and he kind of said, he just brushed it off. I think Luke asked him what's wrong. I mean, Brad asked him what's wrong, and he's like, "Oh, it's nothing." So yeah, we see later in the town now, there's this guy coming in on the train, and he's called Charles Howard. Apparently he's like the town founder or something. He works for these train companies that build up towns. All the people love him, and like they're saying, "You're great and everything for doing everything you did building up the town." He's like brushing it off, saying, "Oh, nothing." And I've already been suspicious of this guy. He's like, there was one panel, and it's like when he was thanked by everyone, and it's like, I'm guessing he's corrupt. I kind of called it from then. So yeah, we see later on now that Brad and Luke are basically helping around the farm, because Luke did offer to do something, considering Anne let them stay and eat there. And Luke's basically doing all the work while Brad is just slacking off. And Mace and what's her name, the daughter Jenny Macy's, pointed the gun at his head and saying, "Oh, just how long you gonna stand around and freeload off of us?" And he's like, what are you talking about? We're doing the farm work, aren't we?" And she's like, "You're not doing anything. You're just standing there." And then Brad's like, "Oh, who's that?" And she's like, "Oh, this guy's arrived." And she says, "That's Charles Howard," or whatever you freaking know his name is. I can't remember. And he basically keeps coming back, like asking Anne the mother to sell the plot of land, and obviously she keeps refusing to. And then as he's leaving, he's like, "I'll fine, don't worry, I won't ever harass you again. This is obviously important land." And then he clocks and notices Brad and Luke, and then he's like, "Oh, now I'll take my leave." And yeah, it's just like from then something suspicious. I'm guessing he knows who the Grim Reaper is, and he's most likely heard about him from the 5 Points. So yeah, that's not good, but from what it looks like. And then as they're sleeping at night now, Luke is asking Brad about their mum, and he basically saying he likes the idea of having a mum because he said that's what Anne feels like here. And Brad tries to convince Luke to stay, saying it would be good for you, and it's like, yeah, it would be, but we've got a job to do, you know. We've got to kill that man. And Brad's like, yeah, you're right. And he's like, we've got to leave tomorrow. So yeah, as we're coming to the end of the chapter now, we see that Charles guy, but yeah, he is a corrupt creep. He's like, "Oh, so you didn't get that farm?" And he's like, "No, don't worry, I got an ace up my sleeve." And outside there's this guy who's being approached by these three men, and they're like calling him all sorts of freaking colourful words, cursing him, saying that you're going straight for the gallows for that. And he's basically being cocky, saying, "Oh, you all three going on me, that's a bit cowardly, you're going to take me to the gallows." He's like, "Well, we'll see about that." So they've pointed their guns at him, and he's drawing for his, and he's basically, you know, like done that Clint Eastwood thing when you twist, rub your hand against the revolver thing, the 6-shooter. So he's just like gone quickly, and he shot all three of them in the head, taking them out, and everyone's freaking crapping themselves, screaming. And as that's happened, Charles has heard it, and he's like, "Oh, it seems like my ace in the hole has arrived," and it's like he'll be able to take care of things. And the chapter ends there. So yeah, I'm really loving this series even more than ever now, because it's gotten so much more interesting. I was so shocked to see Luke like so grown up in this chapter. I wasn't expecting it to be like a year gap already. I mean, to have a year gap in a manga so early in the story is shocking. Like usually it's like after 500 chapters or something, but no, it was like in the first 25, and it's like, yeah, a year later, and Luke has grown up and he's a fighter now, just like his brother, and they're on doing business. They want to kill Edward King. I'm like how they've introduced new characters, and it's like there's always going to be this corrupt coward who hires people, like freaking has power over the town, and seems like there's another threat for Brad to fight. Like the last guy he had to fight, the Iron Butterflies hitman Raymond Fitzgerald or whatever his name is, and he killed him. So yeah, I don't think this guy's going to cause too much trouble. Maybe he will, maybe Luke will have to take over and fight instead, and we'll get to see how skillful he is. You don't know, because I said these guys seem dirty, and they might do any tactics to like injure Brad. So by you going through his brother, innit, and that will probably be their downfall. But yeah, said I'm enjoying this chapter so far of the new arc, as I would call it, and I can't wait to see some more. So that's all I can think in terms of what will happen next, and this whole journey towards killing Edward King, it looks like it's going to be really, really interesting. So yeah, that's enough rambling for me. What do you guys think? Are you enjoying the new arc so far? Because I definitely am. What do you expect to happen in the next one? Because I definitely think that guy's going to fight either Brad or Luke. And yeah, as usual, if you like the video and the chapter, leave us a like, because it helps us and the series out. And subscribe for more content in the channel if you're interested. And I'll speak to you guys in the next chapter.